If you think sand is only for construction and PVA glue is only for sticking paper, then you're about to discover a surprisingly fun secret weapon in the DIY world. When mixed together, they create a blend that's flexible, strongly adhesive, and naturally textured in a very unique way. This formula can turn smooth surfaces into sturdier ones, reinforce broken edges, or even produce a beautiful rough stone-like finish for your craft projects. With just a bit of sand, some PVA glue, and a pair of skillful hands, you can create a versatile material, durable, inexpensive, and undeniably cool in the world of DIY. First, I'll use a sieve to sift the sand, removing any large pebbles and impurities. The fine sand left after sifting is the golden ingredient that helps the PVA mixture adhere more evenly and smoothly. Spend a little extra care on this step, and you'll find the mixture becomes much finer, more pliable, and a lot easier to work with. After sifting the sand, I set the fine portion aside and move on to mixing the mixture. Prepare a small cup or tray. Pour the PVA glue in first, and then slowly add the sand. I scoop about 3 spoonfuls of PVA glue into the cup as the base. This amount provides good adhesion, while still being easy to adjust once the sand is added. PVA glue has a moderately thick consistency, so just tilting the cup slightly makes it slowly flow down to the bottom. After that, I add 2 spoonfuls of ethanol into the cup. The alcohol helps thin the mixture slightly, making it easier to mix, and once it evaporates, it helps the mixture dry faster. Just pour in gently and stir well. You'll see the PVA glue start to turn into a smooth, creamy consistency, ready to be mixed with the fine sand you prepared earlier. If you want to see how I apply this mixture to real projects, watch until the end of the video. You'll see the results firsthand, along with little tips to finish your work like a pro. Next, I add 1 spoonful of the sifted fine sand into the cup, just a small spoonful, but it's enough to start creating texture and grit for the mixture. With this 1:3 ratio, the mixture becomes quite flexible and soft, leaning more toward adhesion than thickness. Since the PVA glue makes up most of it, you'll notice a smooth, spreadable consistency when you stir it, without any lumps. The amount of sand is just enough to add a slight rough texture and increase durability, but not so much that it makes the mixture dry or too heavy. When the mixture reaches a stable consistency, I add a bit of white paint. Just a small amount is enough to brighten the mixture, make it easier to coat surfaces, and create a more uniform base. As you slowly stir while adding the paint, you'll see the entire mixture shift into a smooth white tone that looks very clean and professional. At this point, the sand, PVA, paint mixture is almost complete. Strong, adhesive, and with a color that can be easily customized for any DIY project. To increase the natural texture and make the mixture sturdier, I add about 1 more spoonful of sand. This time, not too much, just enough for the mixture to feel thicker and noticeably adhesive to the touch. As you add the sand and stir well, the grains blend completely, creating a smooth texture while still retaining a natural roughness. And that's the entire process of making the sand PVA mixture. Now I'll put it to the test by applying it to different surfaces, starting with a wooden surface. To apply the mixture more evenly and smoothly, I use a small paintbrush. Simply dip the brush into mixture and gently stroke it over the wooden surface. The sand and glue blend together to form a uniform coating without any clumps. When applied, the mixture quickly forms a surface that closely resembles rough concrete. The sand grains slightly protrude and combine with the white PVA layer. They create a naturally rugged effect, like unfinished cement patches. To the eye, the surface looks both textured and smooth, giving a solid tactile feel, the perfect fake concrete look. Next, I try applying the mixture onto a cardboard surface. When brushed on, the mixture adheres very well, without soaking in too quickly or making the cardboard soft. The coating creates a thick, slightly rough texture, making the cardboard look sturdier and more solid. Tiny sand grains rise to the surface, producing a fake concrete effect similar to the wood, but lighter, while still retaining the natural flexibility of the cardboard. After applying, I leave the mixture in place and let it dry. Once dry, the sand PVA mixture becomes firm and adheres securely to both the wooden and cardboard surfaces. After drying, the surface has a distinct texture, both rough and smooth, resembling unfinished raw concrete. The sand grains slightly protrude and are evenly distributed, giving a naturally rugged feel to the touch. The PVA glue holds the sand firmly in place, preventing it from falling off, while providing just enough subtle sheen to make the surface look lively rather than completely flat. The pale white from the paint combined with the natural gray of the sand gives the surface depth, making it perfect for DIY projects aiming to recreate a raw, industrial, or faux concrete look. To test durability, I lightly scraped the surface with a screwdriver. The result was impressive. The sand PVA mixture didn't scratch or flake at all. The sand grains are firmly held in the glue, forming a sturdy protective layer while still maintaining the natural rough texture. Besides PVA glue, another really interesting trick is to combine sand with silicone adhesive. Next, I pour a sufficient amount of silicone adhesive into the cup. Not too much, so the mixture doesn't come too runny, but enough to make the sand stick firmly. Then, I add a small amount of thinner. The thinner helps loosen the silicone slightly, making it easier to mix with the sand and ensuring a smoother, more workable consistency. Because the thinner, silicone mixture is quite thick and takes time to blend. Stirring by hand gets tiring quickly. I decided to make a simple stirring tool. This tool allows for faster, more even, and much easier mixing, reducing hand fatigue while giving better control over the mixture's consistency. It's extremely convenient for anyone working with large amounts or creating thick coatings. I start stirring evenly with the homemade tool, and the mixture gradually becomes uniform, smooth, and perfectly elastic. Thanks to the stirring tool, I can mix thoroughly without effort while easily controlling the consistency. Once the mixture is uniform, I add a bit of blue paint, just enough to give it a vibrant color, without changing the mixture's consistency. As I stir gently while adding the paint, the entire mixture turns into a smooth blue tone. Finally, I add a little more sand to the mixture. This time, just enough to enhance the texture and highlight the roughness, while still maintaining the silicone's flexibility and elasticity. As I sprinkle the sand and stir gently, the grains blend evenly, creating a coating that is sturdy, smooth, and thick, yet still retains a natural, rugged look. After the mixture is ready, I apply it onto a wooden surface. Using a paintbrush, I gently spread it so that the sand and silicone adhere evenly to the wood. The coating sticks firmly, creating a naturally rough texture with a vibrant blue color while retaining a raw, rustic feel. To the touch, the surface feels flexible yet sturdy, perfect for testing DIY projects that require a solid texture while staying creative. Next, I try applying the mixture onto a foam board, Foamex. When brushed on, the mixture adheres very well, without dripping or deforming the thin plastic sheet. The coating on the Foamex retains its rough texture and vibrant blue color, while remaining flexible and elastic thanks to the silicone. The result is a surface that is both sturdy and naturally textured, perfect for DIY decoration projects or models that need a striking effect without damaging the base material. Once dry, the sand silicone blue paint mixture becomes firm yet retains slight elasticity without cracking or flaking. The surface clearly shows the tiny sand grains, creating a naturally rough, concrete-like texture that still feels soft to touch. The blue color spreads evenly and vibrantly, highlighting the details on both wood and foam board. When I spray water onto the dried surface, the sand silicone blue paint mixture shows excellent water resistance. The water doesn't penetrate, but forms small droplets on the surface that can be easily wiped away without damaging the coating. Thanks to the silicone, the surface remains naturally textured while being water repellent, ensuring that DIY projects applied on wood, Foamex, or other materials stay vibrant and retain their texture even when exposed to moisture. Sand is an extremely versatile material for DIY projects. It not only adds a natural roughness, helping surfaces become slip-resistant, but also enhances adhesion when combined with adhesives like PVA or silicone. Adding sand to a mixture also makes the coating sturdier, maintains its shape, and creates a raw, lively texture. Additionally, sand acts as a filler, filling small gaps on surfaces to ensure a more even and durable finish. A material that seems simple but is incredibly multi-purpose in the world of DIY. And that's the entire process of creating DIY mixtures with sand. Whether combined with PVA glue or silicone, each method produces unique and durable effects. With just simple ingredients, you can create rough, sturdy, and even water-resistant surfaces ready for creative projects on wood, Foamex, or many other materials. By experimenting, adjusting, and mixing as you like, you'll see that sand truly is a golden ingredient in the world of DIY.